Dodgers versus Padres. August 15th, 2025 recap. Baseball fans at Dodger Stadium witnessed a game that felt like a playoff preview. Two divisional rivals, two veteran pitchers who've been through the wars, and two lineups loaded with star power. The Los Angeles Dodgers and San Diego Padres gave us a tense, back-and-forth battle filled with clutch swings, defensive gems, and late-inning drama. When the dust settled, it was the Dodgers who came out on top with a 3-2 victory, fueled by Clayton Kershaw's brilliance, Max Muncy's power, and Evan Phillips' ninth-inning grit. Early momentum, Padres strike first. The Padres wasted little time making their mark. In the second inning, Fernando Tatis Jr. stepped up with his usual flair for the big moment. With a runner aboard, he lined a sharp single into left field to drive in the game's first run. His aggressive base running and confident approach gave San Diego an early 1-0 lead, and for a moment, it felt like the Padres had set the tone. Dodgers respond, Ohtani and Betts flip the score. But the Dodgers weren't rattled. In the bottom of the third inning, their offense came alive. It started with Shohei Ohtani, who grounded out to first base, but in doing so, brought Gavin Lux across the plate to tie the game at 1-1. It wasn't flashy, but it was productive baseball, exactly what Los Angeles needed to shift momentum back their way. Then with 2 outs, Mookie Betts lifted a deep sacrifice fly into the outfield, scoring another run and putting the Dodgers ahead 2-1. Betts has been a steady presence all year, and this moment reminded fans that even without a home run, he knows how to execute in big spots. Power surge, Muncy extends the lead. The Dodgers kept building in the 5th inning. This time it was Max Muncy's turn. Facing Yu Darvish, Muncy turned on a pitch and launched it deep into the right field stands for his 25th home run of the season. The solo blast gave Los Angeles a 3-1 lead, and it wasn't just about the run, it was about the energy. Dodger Stadium came alive as Muncy rounded the bases, and that swing ended up being the difference maker in the game. Padres fight back. Machado and Profar answer. The Padres weren't finished. In the 7th inning, veteran slugger Manny Machado ripped a double into the gap, putting himself in scoring position. Moments later, Jurickson Profar delivered with a sharp RBI single, bringing Machado home and cutting the deficit to 3-2. For San Diego, it was a reminder of how dangerous they can be. Tatis, Machado, and Profar combining to keep the lineup alive, even against tough pitching. The Padres had clawed back into the game, and suddenly the late innings had all the tension of October baseball. Pitching duel. Kershaw versus Darvish. This game wasn't just about the bats. It was a masterclass in pitching from two of the game's most respected veterans. For the Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw looked like the version fans have admired for more than a decade. He went 6 strong innings, allowing only 1 run on 6 hits, no walks, and striking out 7. His command was sharp, his slider was biting, and he relied on his defense to help him escape jams. In the process, the Dodgers turned 2 double plays, snuffing out potential rallies and keeping San Diego at bay. On the other side, Yu Darvish was nearly as good. He threw 7 innings, gave up 6 hits and 3 runs, and struck out 6. Darvish worked out of several tough situations, showing grit and precision, but one mistake to Muncy ultimately defined his night. It was the kind of duel fans expect when these two pitchers face off, and neither disappointed. 9th inning drama, Phillips versus Tatis. The game's biggest moment came in the 9th inning. With the Dodgers clinging to a 3-2 lead, closer Evan Phillips took the mound. He's been lights out all year, but this was no easy assignment. The Padres put the tying run on base, and as fate would have it, Fernando Tatis Jr. came to the plate. One swing could have changed the game. The crowd rose to its feet, holding its breath with every pitch. Phillips went right after him. Fastballs at the edges, sliders dropping just out of reach. And then, on a 2-strike count, Phillips delivered the knockout. He blew Tatis away with a high fastball for the strikeout, slamming the door on San Diego's rally. Dodger Stadium erupted, and Phillips walked off the mound with his 24th save of the season. It was as dramatic a finish as you could script. Star closer versus superstar hitter, game on the line, and the pitcher winning the battle. Stars of the game Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw, vintage performance, 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, 1 run allowed. Max Muncy, the difference maker with his 25th home run of the season. Shohei Ohtani, RBI groundout, set the tone early with productive outs. Mookie Betts, sacrifice fly in solid defense. Evan Phillips, locked down the ninth with ice in his veins. Padres, Fernando Tatis Jr., early Blue Jays versus Rangers, August 15th, 2025 recap. Baseball fans at Rogers Center were treated to a roller coaster of a ball game. One of those contests where the momentum swung back and forth like a pendulum, where heroes emerged in unexpected places, and where one team walked away with a victory that will be remembered for weeks. The final line read, Toronto Blue Jays 6, Texas Rangers 5. But the story behind those numbers is what makes this game unforgettable. Early control, Higashioka and DeGrom sparked Texas. The night began with the Rangers seizing the upper hand. In the second inning, veteran catcher Kyle Higashioka, not always known for being the centerpiece of Texas's lineup, came through in a massive way. With 2 runners aboard, Higashioka crushed a 3-run homer deep into the night sky. Just like that, the Rangers had a 3-0 lead, silencing the Toronto crowd and giving Texas a surge of early confidence. Backing that offense was none other than Jacob DeGrom, Texas's ace who looked every bit the future Hall of Famer he is. DeGrom dominated the Blue Jays in his 5 innings of work. 5 shutout innings, only 2 hits allowed, 5 strikeouts, and no walks. He painted the corners, kept hitters off balance, and gave his team the foundation for what looked like a sure win. Heading into the middle innings, it felt like Texas had the formula, an early homer from the bottom of the order and their ace in full control. Middle inning shift, Kirk wakes up Toronto. But baseball is never that simple. In the 7th inning, with Toronto still trailing 3-0, the momentum finally cracked open. Enter Alejandro Kirk. With a runner on base, Kirk jumped on a mistake pitch and drove it into the seats for a 2-run homer. The Rogers Center crowd erupted. Suddenly, the game that felt out of reach was within striking distance at 3-2. That swing didn't just put runs on the board, it injected life into the dugout, into the fans, and into the Toronto offense. It was the exact spark the Blue Jays needed. The kind of moment that shifts energy in a stadium and sets the stage for a dramatic finish. The 8th inning chaos, Semien versus Toronto's rally. If Kirk's home run gave Toronto hope, Marcus Semien nearly crushed it. In the top of the 8th inning, with a runner aboard, Semien turned on a pitch and crushed it out of the ballpark for a 2-run homer of his own. Just like that, Texas was back in control, now leading 5-2. The Rangers' dugout exploded, the momentum flipped back their way, and for a moment it felt like the game was over. But this game had one more twist. In the bottom of the 8th, Toronto refused to back down. Patient at-bats, a couple of singles, and a walk loaded the bases. The crowd sensed something special building. First came a walk to force in a run. Now it was 5-3. Then, with the bases still full, Alejandro Kirk stepped up once again. He delivered the biggest swing of the night, a sharp 2-run single that tied the game at 5-5. The Rogers Center crowd shook the stadium with its roar. Moments later, Bo Bichette followed with a clutch RBI single to put Toronto ahead 6-5. In the span of 1 inning, the Blue Jays had erased what felt like a dagger and turned it into a game-defining rally. Pitching under pressure, bullpen breakdown versus bullpen brilliance. The Rangers' bullpen, particularly Phil Maton, simply couldn't handle the pressure of the 8th. Maton walked in a run, then gave up Kirk's go-ahead hit, turning what should have been a Rangers win into a meltdown. On the other side, Toronto's relievers did the opposite. Louis Varland came in and steadied the ship in the late innings, picking up the win, while Jeff Hoffman entered in the 9th with nerves of steel. Hoffman notched his 28th save of the season, retiring the side and closing the door on Texas's last hope. Star players of the night, Alejandro Kirk, Blue Jays. Without question, the star of the night. A 2-run homer in the 7th to spark the comeback, and the game-winning 2-run single in the 8th. In total, 4 RBIs and the heartbeat of Toronto's victory. Marcus Semien, Rangers, delivered what should have been the game-sealing homer in the 8th, but it wasn't enough. Kyle Higashioka, Rangers. His three-run shot in the second gave Texas the early lead and showed how dangerous the bottom of the order can be. Jacob deGrom, Rangers, brilliant for 5 innings, but left too early for the bullpen to hold. Bo Bichette, Blue Jays, key RBI single in the 8th to push Toronto ahead. Nathan Lukes, Blue Jays, made a highlight reel leaping catch that robbed Jock Peterson of extra bases. One of those defensive gems that gets lost in the box score, but keeps a team alive. Milestones and notables. Jeff Hoffman reached his 28th save of the season, quietly putting together one of the better closer campaigns in the league. Alejandro Kirk's game may be one of his finest in a Blue Jays uniform, combining a homer and a clutch game, W.